Shir, HaShirim, Song of Songs. The song that excels all songs dedicated to God, him to whom peace belongs. Communicate your innermost wisdom to me again in loving closeness, for your friendship is dearer than all earthly delights. Like the scent of goodly oils is the spreading fame of your great deeds. Your very name is flowing oil. Therefore have nations loved you, Israel in exile to God. Upon perceiving a mere hint that you wish to draw me, we rushed with perfect faith after you into the wilderness. The king brought me into his cloud-pillared chamber. Whatever our travail, we shall always be glad and rejoice in your Torah. We recall your love more than earthly delights. Unrestrainedly do they love you. Israel to the nations. Though I am black with sin, I am comely with virtue. O nations who are destined to ascend to Jerusalem. Though solid as the tents of Kedar, I will be immaculate as the draperies of him to whom peace belongs. Do not view me with contempt despite my swarthiness, for it is but the sun which has glared upon me. The alien children of my mother were incensed with me and made me a keeper of the vineyards of idols. But the vineyard of my own true God I did not keep. Israel to God. Tell me, you whom my soul loves, where will you graze your flock? Where will you rest them under the fiercest sun of harshest exile? Why shall I be like one veiled in mourning among the flocks of your fellow shepherds? God responds to Israel. If you know not where to graze, O fairest of nations, follow the footsteps of the sheep, your forefathers, who traced a straight, unswerving path after my Torah. Then you can graze your tender kids even among the dwellings of foreign shepherds. With my mighty steeds who battled Pharaoh's riders, I revealed that you are my beloved. Your cheeks are lovely with rows of gems, your neck with necklaces, my gifts to you from the splitting sea. By inducing Pharaoh to engage in pursuit, to add circlets of gold to your spangles of silver. Israel about God. While the king was yet at Sinai, my malodorous deed gave forth its scent, as my golden calf defiled the covenant. But my beloved responded with a bundle of myrrh. The fragrant atonement of erecting a tabernacle where his presence would dwell amid the holy ark's staves. Like a cluster of henna in En-Gedi vineyards has my beloved multiplied his forgiveness to me. He said, I forgive you, my friend, for you are lovely in deed and lovely in resolve. The righteous among you are loyal as a dove. Israel to God. It is you who are lovely, my beloved, so pleasant that you pardon my sin, enabling our temple to make me ever fresh. The beams of our house are cedar, our panels are cypress. Chapter 2. I am but a rose of Sharon, even an ever-fresh rose of the valleys. God to Israel. Like the rose maintaining its beauty among the thorns, so is my faithful beloved among the nations. Israel reminisces. Like the fruitful, fragrant apple tree among the barren trees of the forest, so is my beloved among the gods. In his shade I delighted, and there I sat, and the fruit of his Torah was sweet to my palate. He brought me to the chamber of Torah delights, and clustered my encampments about him in love. I say to him, sustain me in exile with dainty cakes, spread fragrant apples about me to comfort my dispersion. For, bereft of your presence, I am sick with love, with memories of his loving support in the desert, of his left hand under my head, of his right hand enveloping me. Turns to the nations. I adjure you, O nations, who are destined to ascend to Jerusalem. For if you violate your oath, you will become as defenseless as gazelles or hinds of the field. If you dare provoke God to hate me or disturb his love for me while he still desires it. Then reminisces further. The voice of my beloved, behold, it came suddenly to redeem me, as if leaping over mountains, skipping over hills. In his swiftness to redeem me, my beloved is like a gazelle or a young hart. I thought I would be forever alone, But behold, he was standing behind our wall, observing through the windows, peering through the lattices. When he redeemed me from Egypt, my beloved called out and said to me, Arise, my love, my fair one, and go forth. For the winter of bondage has passed. The deluge of suffering is over and gone. The righteous blossoms are seen in the land. The time of your song has arrived, and the voice of your guide is heard in the land. The fig tree has formed its first small figs, ready for ascent to the temple. The vines are in blossom, their fragrance declaring they are ready for libation. Arise, my love, my fair one, and go forth. At the sea, he said to me, O my dove, trapped at the sea as if in the clefts of the rock, the concealment of the terrace. Show me your prayerful gaze. Let me hear your supplicating voice, for your voice is sweet and your countenance comely. Then he told the sea, Seize for us the Egyptian foxes, even the small foxes, who spoiled Israel's vineyards, while our vineyards had just begun to blossom. My beloved is mine. He fills all my needs, and I seek from him and none other. He grazes me in rose-like bounty, until my sin blows his friendship away and sears me like the midday sun, and his protection departs. My sin caused him to turn away. I say to him, My beloved, you became like a gazelle or a young hart on the distant mountains. Chapter 3, Israel to the Nations. As I lay on my bed in the night of my desert travail, I sought him who my soul loves. I sought him, but I found him not, for he maintained his aloofness. I resolved to arise then and roam through the city, in the streets and squares, that through Moses I would seek him whom my soul loved. I sought him, but I found him not. They found me, Moses and Aaron, the watchmen patrolling the city. You have seen him whom my soul loves. What has he said? Scarcely had I departed from them, when in the days of Joshua I found him whom my soul loves. I grasped him, determined that my deeds would never again cause me to lose hold of him, until I brought his presence to the tabernacle of my mother and to the chamber of the one who conceived me. I adjure you, O nations, who are destined to ascend to Jerusalem, for if you violate your oath, you will become as defenseless as gazelles or hinds of the field. If you dare provoke God to hate me or disturb his love for me while he still desires it. You nations have asked, who is in this ascending from the desert, its way secured and smoothed by palm-like pillars of smoke, burning fragrant myrrh and frankincense, of all the perfumer's powders? Behold, the resting place of him to whom peace belongs, with 60 myriads of Israel's mighty encircling it, all of them gripping the sword of tradition, skilled in the battle of Torah, each with his sword ready at his side, lest he succumb in the night of exile. A tabernacle for his presence has the king to whom peace belongs, made of the wood of Lebanon. Its pillars he made of silver. His resting place was gold. Its suspended curtain was purple wool. Its midst was decked with implements bespeaking love by the daughters of Jerusalem. Go forth and gaze, O daughters, distinguished by loyalty to God, upon the king to whom peace belongs, adorned with the crown his nation made for him. On the day his law was given, and he became one with Israel, and on the day his heart was gladdened by his tabernacle's consecration. Chapter 4, God to Israel. Behold, you are lovely, my friend. Behold, you are lovely. Your very appearance radiates dove-like constancy. The most common sons within your encampments are as dearly beloved as the children of Yaakov in the goat-like procession descending the slopes of Mount Gilead. Accountable indeed are your fiercest warriors, like a well-numbered flock come up from the washing, all of them unblemished with no miscarriage of action in them. Like the scarlet thread, guarantor of Rahab's safety, is the sincerity of your lips, and your word is unfeigned. As many as a pomegranate's seeds are the merits of your unworthiest within your modest veil. As stately as the Tower of David is the site of your Sanhedrin, built as a model to emulate, with 1,000 shields of Torah armor hung upon it. All the disciple-filled quivers of the mighty Moses and Aaron, your two sustainers, are like two fawns, twins of the gazelle, who graze their sheep in rows like bounty. Until my sunny benevolence was withdrawn from Shiloh, and the protective shadows were dispersed by your sin, I will go to Mount Moriah and the hill of frankincense, where you will be completely fair, my beloved, and no blemish will be in you. With me will you be exiled from the temple, O bride, with me from the temple until you return. Then to contemplate the fruits of your faith from its earliest beginnings, from your first arrival at the summits of Sinir and of Hermon, the lands of mighty Sihon and Og, as impregnable as dens of lions and as mountains of leopards. You captured my heart, my sister, O bride. You captured my heart with but one of your virtues, with but one of the precepts that adorn you like beads of a necklace resplendent. How fair was your love in so many settings, my sister, O bride. So superior is your love to wine and your spreading fame to all perfumes. The sweetness of Torah drops from your lips. Like honey and milk, it lies under your tongue. Your very garments are scented with precepts like the scent of Lebanon, as chaste as a garden locked. My sister, O bride, a spring locked up, a fountain sealed. Your least gifted ones are a pomegranate orchard with luscious fruit, henna with nard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with all trees of frankincense, myrrh, and aloes, with all the chief spices, purified in a garden spring, a well of waters alive and flowing, clean from Lebanon. Awake from the north, and come from the south. Like the winds, let my exiles return to my garden. Let their fragrant goodness flow in Jerusalem. Israel responds, let but my beloved come to his garden and enjoy his precious people. Chapter 5, God replies. To your tabernacle dedication, my sister, O bride, I came as if to my garden. I gathered my myrrh with my spice from your princely incense. I accepted your unbidden as well as your bidden offerings to me. I drank your libations, pure as milk. Eat, my beloved priests. Drink and become God intoxicated, O friends. Israel reminisces regretfully. I let my devotion slumber, but the God of my heart was awake. A sound, my beloved knocks. He said, open your heart to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my perfection. Admit me, and my head is filled with dew-like memories of Abraham. Spurn me, and I bear collections of punishing rains in exile nights. And I respond, I have doffed my robe of devotion. How can I don it? I have washed my feet that trod your path. How can I soil them? In anger at my recalcitrance, my beloved sent forth his hand from the portal in wrath, and my intestines churned with longing for him. I arose to open for my beloved, and my hands dripped myrrh of repentant devotion to Torah and God, and my fingers flowing with myrrh to remove the traces of my foolish rebuke from the handles of the lock. I opened for my beloved, but alas, my beloved had turned his back on my plea and was gone. My soul departed at his decree. I sought his closeness, but could not find it. I beseeched him, but he would not answer. When they found me, the enemy watchmen patrolling the city. They struck me. They bloodied me, wreaking God's revenge on me. They stripped my mantle of holiness from me, the angelic watchmen of the wall. Israel to the nations. I adjure you, O nations, who are destined to ascend to Jerusalem. When you see my beloved on the future day of judgment, won't you tell him that I bore all travails for love of him? The nations ask Israel, with what does your beloved God excel all others, that you suffer for his name, O fairest of nations? With what does your beloved God excel all others, that you dare to adjure us? Israel responds, my beloved is pure and purifies sin, and ruddy with vengeance to punish betrayers, surrounded with myriad angels. His opening words were finest gold, his crowns hold mounds of statutes written in raven black flame. Like in the gaze of doves toward their coats, his eyes are fixed on the waters of Torah, bathing all things in clarity, established upon creation's fullness. Like a bed of spices are his words at Sinai, like towers of perfume. His comforting words from the tabernacle are roses dripping, flowing myrrh. The tablets, his handiwork, are desirable above even rolls of gold. They are studded with commandments, precious as gems. The Torah's innards are sparkling as ivory, intricately overlaid with precious stone. The Torah's columns are marble set in contexts of finest gold. Its contemplation flowers like Lebanon. It is sturdy as cedars. The words of his palate are sweet, and he is all delight. This is my beloved, and this is my friend, O nations who are destined to ascend to Jerusalem. Chapter 6. The nations derisively to Israel. Where has your beloved gone, O forsaken fairest among women? Where has your beloved turned to rejoin you? Let us seek him with you and build his temple with you. Israel responds, my beloved has descended to his temple garden, to his incense altar, yet still he grazes, my brethren, remaining in gardens of exile, together the roseate fragrance of their words of Torah. I alone am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine, he who grazes his sheep in rose-like pastures. God to Israel, you are beautiful, my love, when your deeds are pleasing as comely now as once you were in Jerusalem of old. Hosts of angels stand in awe of you. Turn your pleading eyes from me, lest I be tempted to bestow upon you holiness more than you can bear. But with all your flaws, your most common sons are as dearly beloved as the children of Yaakov in the goat-like procession descending the slopes of Mount Gilead. Your mighty leaders are perfect, as a flock of ewes come up from the washing, all of them unblemished, with no miscarriage of action in them. As many as a pomegranate's seeds are the merits of your unworthiest within your modest veil. The queenly offspring of Abraham are 60, compared to whom the 80 Noahides and all your countless nations are like mere concubines. Unique is she, my constant dove, my perfect one. Unique is she, this nation striving for the truth. Pure is she to Yaakov, who begot her. Nations saw her and acclaimed her, queens and concubines, and they praised her. Who is this that gazes down from atop the Temple Mount, brightening like the dawn, beautiful as the moon, brilliant as the sun, awesome as the bannered hosts of kings? I descended upon the deceptively simple holiness of the second temple to see your moisture-laden deeds in valleys. Had your Torah scholars budded on the vine, had your merit-laden righteous flowered like the pomegranates filled with seeds? Israel responds, alas, I knew not how to guard myself from sin. My own devices harnessed me, like chariots subject to a foreign nation's mercies. Chapter 7. The nations have said to me, turn away from God, O nation whose faith in him is perfect. Turn away, and we shall choose nobility from you. But I replied to them, what can you bestow upon a nation whole in faith, to him commensurate even with the desert camps encircling? the nations to Israel. But your footsteps were so lovely when it shod in pilgrims' sandals, O daughter of nobles. The rounded shafts of your libations, abyss-like trenches, handiwork of the master craftsman. At earth's very center, your Sanhedrin site is an ivory basin of ceaseless, flowing teaching. Your national center, an indispensable heap of nourishing knowledge, hedged about with roses. Your twin sustainers, the tablets of the law, are like two fawns, twins of the gazelle. Your altar and temple, erect and stately as an ivory tower, your wise men aflow with springs of complex wisdom. At the gate of the many-peopled city, your face, like a Lebanese tower, looks to your future boundary as far as Damascus. The godly name on your head is as mighty as Carmel. Your crowning braid is royal purple. Your king is bound in Nazaritic tresses. How beautiful and pleasant are you, befitting the pleasures of spiritual love. Such is your stature, likened to a towering palm tree. From your teachers flow sustenance like wine-filled clusters. God to Israel, I boast on high that your deeds cause me to ascend on your palm tree. I grasp onto your branches. I beg now, your teachers, that they may remain like clusters of grapes, from which flow strength to your weakest ones, and the fragrance of your face like apples. Israel interjects, and may your utterance be like finest wine. I shall heed your plea to uphold my faith before my beloved in love so upright and honest that my slumbering fathers will move their lips in approval. I say to the nations, I am my beloved's, and he longs for my perfection. Come, my beloved, let us go to the fields, where your children serve you in want. There let us lodge with Esau's children, who are blessed with plenty, yet still deny. Let us wake at dawn in vineyards of prayer and study. Let us see if students of writ have budded, if students of oral law have blossomed, if ripened scholars have bloomed. There I will display my finest products to you. All my baskets, good and bad, emit a fragrance. All at our doors have the precious fruits of comely deeds. Those the scribes have nearly ordained in your Torah's timeless wisdom, for you, beloved, as my heart stored them. Chapter 8. If only, despite my wrongs, you could comfort me as Yosef did, like a brother nurtured at the bosom of my mother. If in the streets I found your prophets, I would kiss you and embrace you through them, nor could anyone despise me for it. I would lead you, I would bring you to my mother's temple, for you to teach me as you did in Moses' tent. To drink, I'd give you spiced libations, wines like pomegranate nectar. Israel to the nations, despite my laments in exile, his left hand supports my head, and his right hand embraces me in support. I adjure you, O nations destined to ascend to Jerusalem, for if you violate your oath, you will become defenseless. If you dare provoke God to hate me or disturb his love for me while he still desires it. God and the heavenly tribunal. How worthy she is who rises from the desert bearing Torah and his presence, clinging to her beloved. Israel interjects, under Sinai, suspended above me, there I roused your love. There was your people born, a mother to other nations. There she endured the travail of her birth. For the sake of my love, place me like a seal on your heart, like a seal to dedicate your strength for me. For strong till the death is my love. Though their zeal for vengeance is hard as the grave, its flashes are flashes of fire from the flame of God. Many waters of heathen tribulation cannot extinguish the fire of this love, nor rivers of royal seduction or torture wash it away. God replies to Israel, were any man to offer all the treasure of his home to entice you away from your love, they would scorn him to extreme. The heavenly tribunal reflects. Israel desires to cleave to us, the small and humble one, but her time of spiritual maturity has not come. What shall we do for our cleaving one on the day the nations plot against her? If her faith and belief are strong as a wall, withstanding incursions from without, we shall become her fortress and beauty, building her city and holy temple. But if she wavers like a door, succumbing to every alien knock, with fragile cedar panels shall we then enclose her? Israel replies proudly, my faith is firm as a wall, and my nourishing synagogues and study halls are strong as towers. Then, having said so, I became in his eyes like a bride found perfect. And reminisces, Israel was vineyard of him to whom peace belongs, and populous Jerusalem. He gave his vineyard to harsh, cruel guardians. Each one came to extort his fruit, even 1,000 silver pieces. God to nations on the day of judgment. The vineyard is mine. Your iniquities are before me. The nations will reply, the 1,000 silver pieces are yours, you to whom peace belongs, and 200 more to the sages who guarded the fruit of Torah from our designs. God to Israel, O my beloved, dwelling in far-flung gardens, your fellows, the angels hearken to your voice of Torah and prayer. Let me hear it, that they may then sanctify me. Israel to God, flee, my beloved, from our common exile, and be like a gazelle or a young hart in your swiftness, to redeem and rest your presence among us on the fragrant Mount Moriah, site of your temple.